We're sitting right here with one of my personal favorites, Salmonella. Man, I just gotta give him a shout out, my boy. Just like me, click this subscribe button right here. No, he's one of the number one people on the internet right now. He's always been one of the number one of the first animators that made this type of video famous. Let's get into some original-ish.
Hey Majors, so I'd like to start off with a little biology lesson.
What's up,
When a
Sam?
species finds itself living on an island, it can start to evolve in strange ways based on the different
Man, that's
pressures
a
applied by the
giraffe?
new environment. This is called
don't
island
have a
syndrome,
giraffe
and while
as
it
a
can
cow?
manifest in a lot of ways, the biggest driving force is often a lack of predators. For example, the dodo lost
Oh,
its
hell no,
ability
I gotta see this. Bruh. They really do got them. Bruh. They got a giraffe that's a cow too. Alright. I thought you was just playing,
a lot of
bruh.
ways, the biggest driving force is often a lack of predators. For example, the dodo lost its ability to fly since there was nothing to flee from. The St. Kilda field mouse got twice as big since it no longer had to hide. And with no one around to bully them, the Sardinians started putting maggots in their cheese. Meet kazumartsu, literal
What the
translation,
fuck?
rotten cheese.
Eating
It's made
fucking
by taking a
maggots?
perfectly good wheel of pecorino and letting a special type of fly lay eggs in it.
Oh,
The fly babies then work to partially digest the cheese,
Oh,
rendering
hell
it
nah,
goopy
bruh.
and wet and maybe quite tasty and worm-filled. Now, cheese as a concept is already quite
Goopy
suspect.
and wet and
It's clotted
worm-filled.
milk
Come
that
on,
you
you
fill
could've
with
said that
bacteria
different.
and mold and let sit for a while. But cheese is safe and delicious. Cheese is my friend. I trust cheese. So my guard would be down around kazumartsu. I've learned to look past a cheese's childhood. Strange upbringings are what give them their character. But it turns out, those maggots are still alive. And if you don't chew well enough, they can cause enteric myiasis, which is a fancy term for fly larvae living in your intestines. Symptoms are
Bruh,
similar to
what
food
the
poisoning,
fuck?
except with the added psychic pain of knowing that, again, your bowels are full of squiggly new friends. It's for this reason that kazumartsu is banned in the EU and elsewhere. A black market still exists, which is wild, and it's not a small one. In 2019, the illicit kazumartsu trade was estimated to be worth 2 to 3 million euros annually. Personally, I would just do it prohibition style, like definitely don't put these fly eggs on this sumptuous wheel of pecorino. But if you do, you absolutely shouldn't keep it warm and damp for a week. But although it's traditional to leave the larvae alive when you eat your mag and cheese, some consumers still prefer them dead, shockingly. In that case, one puts the cheese in a sealed bag, and when the maggots run out of oxygen, they writhe around and fling themselves all over the place. This is heard as a distinct pitter-patter against the walls of the
that's
bag,
like popcorn,
and when the sound
bruh.
stops, the contents are ready to eat. Like popcorn. Shark fin soup is one most of us have heard about already, mostly in reference to its
That
effect
shit
on
look-y
shark
looks good.
populations and the wastefulness that goes into
I always
making
seen
it.
that in
Until
the
recently,
game.
though, I never looked into the nature of the dish itself. I figured, right, the fins are just the only part of the shark worth eating. Big whoop, it's probably not much different from, like, swordfish. Apparently, though, I had it backwards. Shark fins aren't even meat. They're made almost entirely of cartilage and collagen. They are the last part we should be eating. That's why it's only made into soup, because without being soaked in broth, it has zero flavor or nutritional value on its own. Their only redeeming quality is their unique mouthfeel due to how stringily the collagen grows, in structures called ceratotrichia. The texture has been described as somewhere between chewy and crunchy, which I find describes most things, actually. Other adjectives present on Wikipedia include snappy, gelatinous, and sinewy. The exact sensation of eating this substance remains a mystery to me, and the unintended side effect of all this research is that I now really want to try it. Like, it's a big trade. I've got to be the one that's wrong. There is imitation shark fin soup available, but I've already decided that it's not nearly as good. So I've come up with a compromise to this controversy. Everyone on Earth gets just one bite. Say there's 10 bites to a fin, 4 fins
Bro,
to a
I'm not
shark,
gonna bite
200
that
million
shit, the
sharks
fuck?
die, sure, a necessary casualty, but then we can end the practice forever. All done. You can finally rest, Mr. Ming. Come here, baby. Aww. Aki. What?
Bro, what
Aki.
did you just
Where?
do to him?
Aki. The aki is a fruit originally from West Africa, which is most commonly associated with Jamaican cuisine, where it appears in such dishes as aki and saltfish. These alien kidneys here are called the arils, and they're the only part of the
That
fruit
looks
that's
a little
actually
bit
eaten.
strange,
The flavor
bruh.
is on the savory side, being described as kind of
hell no.
nutty or bean-like. What makes the aki
Bruh.
controversial, though, is the effects it can cause when prepared improperly. If the arils are allowed to completely ripen, they're harmless, but if you eat them too early, or don't thoroughly clean off all the non-aril stuff, they can cause cause
that a
Jamaican
bug?
vomiting sickness. This disease doesn't sound real. It sounds like it belongs next to
put
Eastern
a
sweats
bug
and
in
Tangerine
Jamaican
bone
vom?
grindings, but that's actually an official term,
Bro,
and as
wait,
for
what?
symptoms, it does what it says on the tin. Plus maybe death. While ackee-based products aren't outright illegal in the
Bugs gonna
United
kill
States,
you?
they are very tightly regulated, and the raw fruit itself cannot be imported. So if you're American and want to try it, your options are fully cooked canned ackee or going to Florida where a few people grow it domestically. Next we have bird's nest soup. This is another one that I've vaguely heard of, and for years I just assumed the name was a playful metaphor like ants on a log or shit on a shingle. Turns out, nope, this dish contains an actual bird nest. Not like a pile of twigs like I was picturing,
Bro,
but
what?
rather a specific type of nest only made by certain species of swiftlets. These nests are mostly made out of mucins, which are a set of proteins that, among other things, serve to thicken all those wonderful secretions our bodies make. There's a little bit in human saliva, a little bit more in mucus, and in swiftlet saliva, look out, pal. So all the swiftlet does is it finds a nice wall, starts laying out fat strings of slobber, which dry, and eventually she's got a nice place to roost. That is, right up until some gourmand says,
Today I crave bird spit. You can keep the eggs though.
and they then reconstitute it back into its original gelatinous texture. Unfortunately, these nests can't enter the US since, believe it or not, eating bird saliva is a great way to catch bird flu. And now the time has...
Bruh. If any of y'all eating that shit, just unsubscribe for me, bro. Don't. Bruh, I'm not associating any of y'all
come
eating
to
that
speak
fucking
of the
active shit.
ortolan. The ortolan is a kind of bunting, which is a sort of passerine,
Passerine.
which is a type of bird.
Bird.
They're birds. Like many animals, they have a long history of being eaten by the French. But what separates the ortolan from your average squab or pheasant is the unique way in which it is prepared and eaten. They're typically caught with nets and kept in the dark, which causes them to overeat for some reason. Once it's about twice as fat, the entire bird is then thrown into a container of brandy, alive,
that's fucked up.
and sealed in. While this serves to marinate the creature, it also drowns in the process, thereby killing one bird with no stones. The ortolan is then roasted, plucked, and presented whole to the consumer, who inserts the carcass into their mouth, feet first. As they chew, one hand continues holding the bird's head, while the other picks out the larger bones. This whole ritual is usually performed with a towel or large napkin over one's head. There's a few explanations for the purpose of the towel. Some say it's just there to keep the aromas in, while others say it's there to, quote, shield from God's eyes the shame of such a decadent and disgraceful act.
For real.
Yeah, this one I'm okay with not trying, actually. Notable fans of this dish include, not joking, Bill Cosby and the guy who invented the lobotomy. To be part of that social club. Our mission is to eat birds whole and then make people not remember things. Killing ortolans was banned across the EU in 2007, not for any ethical reason, but because French people did this so much that the entire ortolan population was threatened. Thankfully, as of 2018, their conservation status is under least concern, so hopefully the French can get back to it soon. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
That's all for the video.